To safeguard democracy, the people must have a keen sense of independence, self-respect, and their oneness. The care of human life and happiness, and not their destruction, is the first and only object of good government. Purpose to put the government you want in office by making sure you have your national identity card so that you can be a voter by registering as a voter. I said I will do that civic education because all said and done, that is what will make the difference. Welcome to the bold analysis. There is a brutal verdict by the president of Vietnam Gas on how Kenya and our regime is good in talking without a culture of execution. And this brutal letter that Vietnam president has sent to President Ruto, has said on President Ruto, is a true reflection of who we are. I've seen state bloggers have been charged to attack him on that. But instead of even attacking, we should introspect. And instead of arguing in facts, we need to ask ourselves, what he's saying, is it true or false? And what can we do better? Sometimes it is good to be corrected. We cannot be a know-it-all. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. If you look at that screenshot there, you can see where you, the place I've circled, top left corner, top right corner, is where the notification bell is. You click it and subscribe. Remember, subscription is absolutely free, and your email, because you must subscribe when you're logged into your account, nothing is going to be deducted from your account, and it's even safe. No one can access your email on this other side, both on the back end and front end. Back end is what we are seeing. Front end is what is called YouTube Studio, which is what I can access. Nothing can be seen on that end, and your data is safe. So hautapata email, yeah, things, some spam messages because you subscribe to this channel. Well protected. Now, without much ado, go with me and let's look at what the Vietnam president have said about us. And I would want us to take a moment and introspect and ask ourselves the hard questions that often we don't want to entertain, or rather we don't want to take, especially when we are confronted with the truth. This is what he's saying. Look at this. Why Africa doa shau? Why Africa awaits while Asia builds a hard look at Kenya? This is what he says. I met with Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and President William Ruto in Nairobi. They spoke with energy about Kenya's future investment, infrastructure, public housing. But behind the polished language was a painful truth. There is no serious execution culture. In fact, just to that point, what he's actually saying is that we are not executing it. Na ni kama kuna vitu aliambiwa afanye and something is coming out. Number two, Kenya's real problem is not lack of money or talent. It's the absence of long-term vision and dominance of short-term gain. Mark that part. I'm telling you, ametuongelesha. Absence of a long-term vision, but a short-term gain. This is what we normally explain and say. For Kenya, they always ask, the leaders always ask, what is in it for us? Before any project, what can I gain if you are to do that? They're not even interested about project. What is my cut? Leaders talk big, but systems don't move. They wait for outsiders to bring business rather than build an environment for it. He continues to say, the biggest indicator, electricity. Vietnam, 100 million people, over 70 megawatts of power. Kenyan, 50 million people, only 4 megawatts of power, gigawatts of power. This is not a side issue. It's the foundation of economic development. Energy is the foundation of economic development. No investor, and this part is very important. That's why I'm saying we need to just listen to what he's saying. No investor will build a factory where the lights flicker every day. Vietnam knew this. It built power generation before free trade zones. And now it's a global export hub. In Kenya, basic energy supply is unstable. And yet, the government built a fancy expressway from Nairobi to Mombasa without an export industry to support it. Meanwhile, millions live in slums and huts with no access to reliable utilities. As someone who has been doing charity, I can attest to what he's saying. The level of poverty in the coast, hey, I'm telling you, I'm just working on housing, a shelter program under that foundation. So we are working around the for the foundation website so that we can also fundraise beyond just the public fundraisers. And when we're doing our research and you look at what is really, you can narrow down and say, we want to do that project in the coast. And this is the side of the country. Tourism is another missed opportunity. Safari bookings require 90-minute check-ins at park gates. Hey, even with reservations, after 9 p.m., everything closes. There is nothing for visitors to experience or spend on beyond a Maasai market that's essentially a severe stand. President Ruto wants to build public housing, but investors are scared off by petty corruption and legal instability. The law keep on changing. Policy keep on changing on that project. There are no credible incentives, no serious risk guarantees, in short, no real initiative to make it happen. Compare this to Vietnam or Singapore. Tunataka kuwa Singapore. Leaders are up at 5 a.m. working on execution, not speeches. Yenyewe hajatuongelesha vizuri. Unajua? Yenyewe hajatuongelesha. Us, other leaders work for execution. Us wake up in the morning for speeches. Power supply is constant. Policies are consistent on data-driven and data-driven hours. In intelligence, whether they are popular or not. Incentives align with performance. Africa doesn't lack potential. It lacks a mind shift. It lacks a mindset shift. Leadership must stop performing for the next donor visit or summit. It must build systems that attract local and global investment, reward builders, and guarantee follow through. The global window is closing. Asia isn't waiting. If Kenya and much of Africa want a real economic future, they must turn off the microphone and turn on the power. Thank you. We might not like it, but that is it. We must turn off the microphone and turn on the power. There is too much talking, and some of us have been saying that the president needs to leave these rallies and these explanations he's making on top of the car so that he goes back to State House and to do the real work. The real work. The systems need to work. And I'll show you why something that, my real experience on how things are not working. There's some few aspects I want us to pick from that post because it's the anchor of this analysis. Number one, the cost and availability of energy in turbocharging industrialization is a big thing. Energy is a big input. And as much as we're doing rural electrification in in the rural fine, people need to have power. That is good for households. Of course, peer to uplift the lives of people. And also for security in those villages, because kama isolate ziko, street lights are also there. But if we want to industrialize the country, want to ensure that you can have something, we must look at energy. A good example, as we talk, do you know, and I'll do some analysis about this later, do you know that we have fake transformers?
You made your point. Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable Millie?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members are asking very substantive issues that have to do with the transformers. And we have since learned recently that some of the transformers that were purchased are defective. So I know that they are being, something is being done. But something as basic as a tree falling and power going out from yesterday morning. And I call up to date, no power. Is that Kenya powerlessness or Kenya Power? Can they change their names officially? Kenya powerlessness and I don't know what. It's a joke. If there is a disconnection, Kenya powerlessness and disconnection and the darkness.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, if there was one agency that was known for efficiency, it was Kenya Power. The one that used to give us nightmares was water. Are you competing with water to being ineffective, or are you trying to sabotage Honorable Wandai because he's an expert? Please reconnect. Basic, let us not even be talking about issues like transformers. This is just a tree that has fallen, surely. You are joking.
Very well. I think members have serious concern, and the concerns are many. And therefore, no, just take your place. Therefore, there was a...
And in Parliament, Millie Odhiambo was even raising what Kenya Power is doing about it. Nini imeanguka, miti imeanguka, kaangoga stima ikaribu. It's going to take a government the whole year to replace one transformer. And the moment it comes, it's a fake one. And if there is no one with money around that area who can bulldoze the process, it might not happen anytime soon. So this is a real example why what the Vietnamese president of gas is saying is a true reflection of who we are, even if we don't like it. The second bit of this, there is this hype about 400 markets being built in the country. The president is making a very passionate pitch and talking about this. The focus is in the number of markets and how much they are costing. Hey, I can tell you, when the president is speaking, they will say, we are building 3 markets in this constituency that each is costing 200 million or 100 million or 150 million. And when the village folks listen to that, they jubilate and they say, yes, something has been done. And I want to pick this from his argument. He said that to build expressway, or I think he was talking about SGR, but without an export industry. So let me tell you, between building 400 markets and making sure that county industrial and aggregation parks that Moses Kuria launched when he was in the Ministry of Trade, making sure that CIAPs are done, which one do you think is going to boost the country economy? Because the focus is on, and I am not against Mama Mboga having a decent market center. A decent market is fine. Shade, and because of situations around those areas, fine. But what is being sold there? What is the market value? What is the profit ratio? You know, there is a whole lot question. I was in Mount Kenya, I was in Embo. it is true. I talked to a farmer, Panda Mogoka, akaniambia, it is true that those who are buying mogokas from the farm are buying a kg at 150, not even 200. Paka alisema 150. And in Somalia, it's being sold at 7K. How can government intervene in that supply chain without these gazette notices? Those gazette notices are threats. Real intervention in that supply chain so that at least a farmer apate hata shilingi 600 from 1 kg. As much as we talk about the markets, the number 400 at 1 million, and listen to Kindiki in Bahati yesterday. Yes, they're sheds and they give decency, but how does it? The focus is on them so that when the president comes and asema alitujengea ile soko, and he'll put the name there, you know, and for excitement. But the real, it is quantity, but quality-wise, we are not doing. The third aspect is this one. The president is launching water taps, transformers, KPLC with vehicles with poles, pipes, to erect signage of projects, some that have not even started. Dishing school buses to churches, to schools, and promises here and there. These are short-term political excitements. And why am I saying? In education sector, there's so many, there's a lot of instability. They're not stable. Why? Do you know was it last month? Oh, just earlier this month, there was a policy that mathematics is not going to be mandatory. The ministers come again yesterday said mathematics is mandatory. Sure. When Dwelly went there, when they were telling people to register, by then you register, you pay 4 months upfront, that's when you can benefit. For people who don't know. It's not that you pay this month and you benefit. But of course, I'm fine with that because that is how it should be. Otherwise, we'll be doing some charity program in that share. But do you know that Dwelly has formed a 16-member committee with the mandate of working for 3 years to be advising him on how people should benefit with SHA. That's already a disaster. That committee is going to create more policy changes. Of course, I believe that the program needs to be progressive, but it also needs stability. We are not stable. We are looking for short-term gains. The other one is endless politics without any tangible change kwa ground. No execution. This was in Homa Bay. I saw these guys were even protesting about some road there.
Kasuba nambari juo chale pa chaloni ne kaka gari ni meni gari no dwa nyumore bu menone gari no si maru meni gari no ne manondara moro ni machandoa okwanga nyalu wuo iki nyombo kainda miliona disturi miliona dito kaka bara chaloni Chaloni, para mami gori manyorenga chalonade. Dongo nyorengo kama ber kodi nyombo kaina. Kako los kabo do ber maber mose juobi emika ni nyombo ko kaina. Ni ele meti mokwa biye. Okwa
Now, and just to show you that the corruption is corrosive and the system is not working. Do you know the president made a trip to US last year, and there was supposed to be construction of the highway from Mombasa to Nairobi. Nothing has started. Why? The people that are supposed to settle for it, there are a lot of procedural and the systems are not moving. A good example is Adani deal. We rushed and gave Adani deal to that Indian fellow. And it was not competitive. So when the US did their groundwork, they realized we were giving that deal to a corrupt fella. We are yet to. We are in China looking for a new investor. Probably that's ordinarily why the president is there. And if I want to tell you the real corruption, I was in Kenyan hospital. I saw a specialist of a condition, on a condition. The specialist directed me to go and buy some medicine. Just kwa nini hapo. When you arrive there, you are told, you pay through e-citizen. That drug, that medicine was around 5,320. Nikifika, I had to pay 5,370. Why? Because you pay through e-citizen and there is a 50 shillings convenience fee. As you pay the 50 shillings convenience fee, from your M-Pesa, there is also a transaction. Mimi nikajiuliza, how many people are paying through there? So e-convenience fee, hata kama watu wana manage your website, surely. Transaction moja unachukua 50 bob. Then how many transactions are happening in a day? Come on. Who is eating that money? I'm telling you, this country, that man is just saying the truth. We are so, the system, and there's a time where mtu anataka kununua drug ya 100. So you need to spend 150. Okay, for me I spent, because mine is 5,000, hata nikitoa 50 makes sense. So someone who is buying a drug ya 100 bob has to pay a 50 shillings plus the money deducted from your M-Pesa through, because hiyo 50 ni ya ile ya e-citizen, wakikuprompt hiyo 50 bob inatoka, na from your M-Pesa pia there is a transaction fee. Come on. Come on. Why are we stealing from the people?